I'm Alma Lee. I'm a psychotherapist and transformative lifestyle resiliency coach and author, and I want to help you reach your goals by teaching you how to step outside of those fear-based mindsets and into your powerful, loving self. Let's get started. So I got to say, I'm super stoked before I get started here. I've got my podcast situation on deck. It is my actual kit is set up for the first time in 4 months, and I'm so stoked to have the sound quality improved since my travels began back in March. So sorry, I'm just jazzed about that. I wanted to say that real quick. Have you ever considered something that you want to try in life, something that you would like to explore or learn or do, or maybe you see somebody that you look up to achieving something in an area that you are not familiar with, and you think, I'd like to try that, but you don't because you're afraid that you're going to fail? Well, let's get into it today, because I think that fear of failure is something that we can all relate to. And it's a discussion that doesn't happen very often because nobody wants to admit that they're afraid of failing. We all want to be on top of our game, and we want other people to see us as on top of our game. And I'm no different. I want to be seen as an expert in my craft. I want to be seen as a subject matter expert. And so if I get out there and I try underwater basket weaving and I do it terribly, then I would hate for people to see me as somebody who does that awful, terrible, terrible, Alma. That is a horrible looking basket. But no, seriously, we all have those fears. We all have things that we kind of wait and decide to do later on in life, or not at all, because we're so damn afraid that we're not going to succeed at it. And we allow that fear to keep us stuck and keep us kind of moving in a loop in our lives over and over and over again. And we don't try anything new because we're so afraid of the failure. But come on, it's important. I mean, you got to try to do things in a new way in order to fully expand your experience in this life. Don't you agree? Don't you think you need to, take some risk? Calculated risk, but take some risk. And don't you think it's okay if you do stumble along the way? What does that mean anyway? What is failure? Failure is different for everybody, and I think it's different for everybody because we have different ideas about what we want to achieve. And failing, quote unquote, air quotes, looks different for everybody because we all have a different past. We all have different experiences with failure. And so our perceived interpretation of what that feels like is going to be different too. Failure for me is living a life outside of integrity, living a life that's devoid of moral compass, a moral direction, being manipulative. That to me is a failing on my part. I think if I were to live a life where I felt like I had to be manipulative or deceptive in my attempts to do something or have something, I think that that's failing. No matter what the outcome is, I could, earn $1 million gazillion, but if I've done that by stepping on people and hurting people and manipulating people along the way, to me that is a phenomenal failure because it wasn't done with integrity. So that's my idea of failure. What's your idea of failure? What does it look like to you? Have you sat down and thought about what failure is for you? And if so, have you thought about the emotional ties to that? That's really, really hard too, just as a side note, to look at something from an emotional space, especially if you've had to reserve your own emotions over your life. Maybe you've had to repress your feelings about things. So to ask that question is daunting in and of itself because you don't know how to do it anyway. You just know that you want to avoid having feelings that make you feel like a failure. Or maybe you're feeling like other people may have an opinion about that, or maybe they will judge you harshly. And that feels terrible. Nobody wants to be judged harshly because they're not good at something. Have you ever considered the ideas, your goals, your dreams, your aspirations, and which ones do you have out there that maybe you tinker around in your mind, you don't even talk about to other people? You think, wow, that'd be really cool if I could do that thing. But then you have like this subconscious contract that, yeah, I can't do that because I'll suck at it. And if I suck at it, I'm going to screw it up and I'm not going to succeed, so why bother? So suspend your disbelief for just a moment, just for this next several minutes while we're here together, having this experience together. What is that one thing that you want to achieve or that you have considered that is, maybe you think it's too far out of hand, it's too far out of your reach, or you're just not, you're too inept, or you don't have the capability to achieve whatever that thing is. Forget about what you think you believe about yourself or what you think about yourself. What is that thing you would like to have happen? What's the goal? What's the desire? What's something that you would like to try maybe? You ever considered that? Okay, do you have it? Think about it. Okay, now, maybe you come back to this episode because you might be driving right now, and I don't want you to, whip out a journal or your phone and take notes right now, but come back to this, okay? But think about that thing, that goal, that something that somebody else does in life, but that you have limited your ability to achieve the same outcome because you've gotten yourself into this belief set that you're just going to suck at it, you're going to fail. I want you to write that down, the goal, and then I want you to sit down and write out what the fear is of the failure. Why do you think you'll fail at it? What is it about you that makes you disqualified to achieve that particular goal? When you start to peel back the layers, you really start to get into your own cognitions, your schemas of yourself, the things that you believe about yourself. Maybe you are a high achiever, for instance. And I think for a lot of high achievers and people who have a history of a lot of successes, I think that the stakes are actually higher for people like that because God forbid you fail. You ruin your whole, everything, perceived ruin. It's not really ruin, but I think that that's where a lot of people who are high performers, high achievers, people who have always been at the top of their game, they are very risk averse because if they were to try that new thing and then they suck at it, then that's kind of like foreign territory, foreign ground. What I say to that is this: do it anyway. Allow yourself to do whatever that thing is badly. I know, it's crazy, right? But if you can allow yourself to do something that you are not maybe an expert at, and you can allow yourself to do it badly or quote unquote fail, then instead of looking at failure as a negative, you look at it as this is just sort of part of the growth process for your learning so that you can become a subject matter expert. I mean, if it matters that much to you, why not take the risk? Why not try to achieve the goal that you set forth for yourself? Why not expand your mindset just a little bit more and then go a little bit further and look at other people who have been successful in achieving the goal that you're, kind of teasing yourself with, but that you're not really taking the chance, you're not really taking the risk. Look at those other people and ask yourself this question: what is it about that person that's different from me? Like, seriously. I mean, maybe they have more money, maybe they're taller, maybe they have more resources, but that's just money, that's just finances, that's just wisdom, or maybe they're older, or maybe they went to college, or maybe they've had longer time in that particular, whatever the goal is. Does that really make them that much different than you? Because isn't that something that you could also attain? Wisdom, experience. So fear of failure is something that I think a lot of us get caught up in, that we don't take the time to sit with and really truthfully honor ourselves by saying, this is something I really want to try. And it's scary. I know, it's so scary. It's scary to try something new. A couple of years ago, I sat down with my phone and I thought, you know what? I could do a podcast. I was coming off the tail end of my talk show, and my talk show was really, it was becoming sort of a production nightmare because I didn't know, I wasn't the one that was originally doing the production, and then everything changed, and I really just felt like I wanted to talk about things that came up in sessions with my clients as something to share with mass audience, such as yourself. And I didn't know what I was doing. I downloaded an app on my phone, and the first time I recorded on my phone, and I played it back, and it sounded terrible. It was awful. But I didn't publish it. I just played around with it a little bit more, and I thought, let me log in on the computer. Let me get my account uploaded on the computer. Let me hook in my my microphone. And back then, my microphone was just like a plug and play. It wasn't anything great. Actually, it might have been the one that I've been using since I've been traveling. Honestly, I think that's what it was. And then later on, I thought, I can make this a little bit better, and I can make this a little more special. And so I got some more equipment, and then I taught myself a little bit more. And I'm still 2.5 years later, I'm still working on it. And I don't have as much of an audience as I thought I would have had 2 years down the line. But you know what? I'm still working on it. I'm still evolving. I'm still taking chances. I'm still talking to other people. I'm still paying attention to other people in their podcasts and, paying attention to what kind of information they're delivering as well. And I'm working on that within the frame of what I'm able to do time-wise with my other responsibilities. And I'm having fun with it. That's a big key here too, is that when you take risk, you've got to enjoy it. You've got to have fun with it. Have you ever just thought, what's the worst that could happen? Really? For real. What's the worst that could happen? If you're a high achiever and you take that risk and you go out on a limb and you put yourself out there, and maybe you get, stumble along the way, and maybe you make some mistakes, rookie errors, if you will. And maybe some other people make fun of you, and maybe it involves social media, and maybe people see that you screwed up, and because you're a high performer, they can't wait to just hammer you. So, who cares? At the end of the day, why does it matter? Self-abandonment is a big part of this whole fear of failure, because we fear failure because we fear judgment of others, because we're placing a value of self in what other people think about us. And if you can shift your focus on feeling proud about yourself, and kind of pulling that focus away from what other people think of you, then you are able to fine-tune your efforts. And it kind of keeps your focus on the objective anyway, by removing the attention on what other people think. Other people aren't doing what you're doing. It's okay. And you're always going to have haters. You're always going to have people that are paying attention to what you're doing, mostly because they're too fearful of their own failures, so they would rather pay attention to what you're doing and call attention to what you're screwing up at, because they don't have the courage that you have. And maybe, just maybe, you taking a chance on yourself to do whatever that thing is that you've been dreaming about, you set the tone for your haters to maybe look at their own lives a little bit closer and not focus so much on hating on you. I've had some conversations with people, strangers on the internet mostly, who have come at me and said things. And, you can't change everybody's mind. Some people's heart and spirit is just set in the negative, and that's just who they are, and that's how they're going to be the rest of their lives. You can't fix everything. But I can try, and then I can see that, if it's not going anywhere, then I keep it moving, because I keep my focus on myself. And realize that, my energy and access to it is a privilege, and I need to be a very good steward of my well-being, because that's what all of this is. All of this is just paying attention to what your dreams are, paying attention to what your goals are, and really fine-tuning those areas of what is your intuitive higher consciousness calling you into your purpose, because that's where your goals and your dreams come from anyway. And if you shutter that down and you push it away and you don't focus on it because you're afraid of failing, well, you're abandoning yourself, and you're allowing other people to, to control how you move through life. And that's really no way to live. Wouldn't you agree? I know for me, I wouldn't be doing what I'm doing if I'd listened to the people around me in my ear telling me I should or should not do the thing that I was trying to do at any given point in my life. And I've been afraid of failing, and I have failed. I've made poor choices, and I've done things that I regret. But I've also looked at it as an opportunity for my own growth, and to understand that, well, screwed the pooch on that one. I guess we won't be doing that again. What was it about me in that situation that made me choose to do what I did, and why did I do it, and what can I do better in the future? Because it's always opportunity, right? It's always opportunity. Just a couple of takeaways. So in closure, you have to perceive failure as opportunity, as a learning opportunity. Let yourself screw up. Allow yourself to perform badly. Allow yourself to do whatever it is you want to do badly. And then take notes. Learn from it. Grow from it. What did you like about the experience? What did you not like about the experience and the outcome of it all? How did you grow from it? And better yet, it's a good opportunity to self-identify your emotional space, particularly when you feel judged or critiqued harshly or maybe even unfairly by others. One thing's for sure is, as you evolve and as you start to move through life and you make different decisions and you do different things, the people in your circle, some of them are going to fall off. They're going to move away from you because they're going to see you taking risks, and they're going to see you acting in courage, and that's going to really trigger them, because how dare you? How dare you change? How dare you reach for your goals? How dare you listen to your intuition and your higher consciousness and your purpose? Because when you do those things, the people who need you to stay stagnant are fearful more than you can even imagine. And that's why people become haters, because they're terrified to live. So they treat you the way that they perceive the world treating them. It's important to pay attention to that, and it's important to disconnect from that energy, because it's going to keep you stuck. It's probably kept you stuck up until now, if you think about it. But we have also fear of changing that causes the people that we perceive to be connected to us and losing them, because we've changed, because we have faced our fears, and we've faced our fears of failure by achieving our goals. That's really intimidating to a lot of people. And it's important that you're aware of it. It's important that you're aware of the judgment from the people that, as long as you stay the same, they'll stay connected to you. But if you start changing, well, they're going to start changing too. And it's okay. There's people who love you that you haven't met yet. And I think it's important to understand that. And I think it's important to make room for those people to be in your life too. So something to consider. Every successful person has a whole host of failures. There's not a single person who is considered a successful person who has not failed numerous times. And that's just a fact. And you can look at these people that you look up to, and look at their courage and the fact that they were risk takers and that they put themselves out there to make these mistakes, the potential for humiliation, if you will, in failure. And they did it anyway. And you can too. Humiliation never killed somebody. It just, it's uncomfortable. It's uncomfortable to feel judged or withdrawn or isolated because you have people that are being harsh when they look at you. It's very uncomfortable, but it never killed anybody. And after all of that, at the end of the day, what's the worst that could happen, right? Learn from it. You got to learn from it. You got to learn from it. You got to take notes. You got to pay attention. You got to ask questions of yourself. What did I do? Why did I do it? What did I like? What did I not like? And then you keep it moving, and then you keep doing it. And you probably fail again, but maybe you'll fail less, and maybe you'll continue to grow, and then you'll start getting a little muscle memory in whatever it is that you're trying to achieve. Learning a new sport, learning how to ski, learning how to ice skate, ride a bike, I don't know. Whatever it is, you start doing it, you continue to fail, but you fail less and less and less. And then you start having these little successes, and then you start noticing that the successes start to overtake the failures. And then you start doing better, and you stay focused. The last thing, never forget, through it all, you have got to be kind to yourself in speaking to yourself through it all. You've got to be the biggest cheerleader that you have. You've got to be the biggest self-advocate that you have in attaining whatever goal it is. And especially when you really screw the pooch, when you really, really bottom out and you feel like you want to give up, you've got to cheer yourself on. You can't ever abandon yourself when you're trying to achieve your greatness. All right. This has been a Lee Bird Media production. Don't forget to like, share, follow, and subscribe. Thanks for listening.